Thank you, Anna. Welcome to this special edition of the Volvo Group Connectivity Pod as part of Lindholmen Open Day. We're coming to you live, as Anna said, from the other studio here at Visual Arena at Lindholmen Science Park. And in line with the theme for today, local attractiveness, global competitiveness, we're actually going to talk about the global journey of a local startup and what role Volvo Group Venture Capital has had on that journey. And joining me now are the CEO of Adnavem, Andreas Bramsmyr, Christina Brinck, and Erik Johansson from Volvo Group Venture Capital. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so Christina, let's start with you. Many people maybe listening don't know exactly what Volvo Group Venture Capital does, so tell us.
Yes, Volvo Group Venture Capital, we are an investment company that works across all business units at Volvo Group, the trucks, the buses, construction equipment, Penta and energy. And we do venture investments. And venture investments is about minority investments into startups. These companies are often very innovative and on a growth journey. And we do these investments to kind of help Volvo in the transition that Volvo is, or transformation that Volvo is undergoing. And this transformation is based on digitization, electrification, sustainability. And we look for companies that can bring both strategic value and financial value to Volvo. So Erik, maybe you would like to comment.
Yeah, I can add to that. That's a very broad scope, of course, for us, investing into all kind of companies that can help Volvo transform into the future. To sharpen that and make it a little bit easier for us, we have common themes or investment areas that we focus on over time. So currently we have 3 themes. Electric infrastructure, which is everything around the electrification, the charging, the second life of batteries, battery management systems, or anything except the vehicle itself. Site solutions, that's everything to do with confined areas, ports, mines, construction sites. That's a very special environment and different from the road. So looking for efficiency solutions and everything that can help monetize data within those certain areas. And then the last sector which we are going to focus on today, logistics services. That's anything that can make the logistic market more transparent and more efficient, etc. And that's why we have Andreas and Adnavem here, of course.
Yeah, and so Andreas, tell us a little bit about the company.
At Adnavem, we are changing the way we are collaborating in logistics. We are connecting the parties that does the job, the logistics providers, directly with the cargo owners and let them interact in a complete transparency and way. And with that, of course, we give both actually logistics providers and the cargo owners a lot of benefits from connected to transparency and efficiency.
So tell me a little bit, I'm curious about the name, Adnavem, where it came from.
Adnavem stands for to the sea. It's Latin, and it was actually my co-founder Matthias, who was sitting in the sun chair and said we need to have a good name, short and starting at the top of the, preferably with an A, and of course we need to have all the domain names available around the world. So just like Volvo is having a Latin connection, Adnavem does too.
And would you say there was kind of a real need for Adnavem and what you offer? Would you call yourselves kind of disruptors here?
I think we are really doing something that nobody has done before. We are global from start, and we do something that we haven't yet found anyone doing the same thing. And it really goes down to 3 areas. Collaboration we started with, but also into unbundling, meaning that you actually can tailor your preferred logistic solution every time, and that's good not only to increase the service performance, but also for the sustainability part. And then, of course, by reducing middleman, we make everything much more effective.
And I'm curious how you found one another, Erik. Is there something similar to like a dating app for investors and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with the Latin names, but there are very many ways for us to find companies. We do it through our personal networks, we look through databases, go to conferences, we talk a lot to other investors, talk to colleagues at Volvo Group, and that's kind of lesson number one if you want to invest in innovative companies. You need to do the hard structured work in the sourcing phase. And I think in this instance, I think we met through some personal network. We were introduced, started talking about the big vision, and then the dialogue comes out of that.
And I know you went in as investors last October 2020. So why was it the right fit for Volvo?
Yes, sometimes it's hard. This time I think it was very easy because we are always looking for companies that have a big idea and a bold idea to transform the market. And here we really like the idea of unbundling the freight market. We're trying to do that ourselves as well in our own logistics, but here we could see that being presented for smaller companies than Volvo. So, of course, we do the math on the market, the growth, the financial need, etc. But it always starts with the idea, and that's where we get enthusiastic, and then we look for trust in the management to execute on that idea. So in this instance, it's pretty easy why it was a very good fit for us.
And Andreas, then what does the Volvo Group provide you with?
Volvo, apart from money, of course, which is an important part being a startup, I think that having Volvo as a partner into what we do, I mean, they are in the forefront of the digital transformation. They are working in many areas themselves, and I think that is, of course, important to have a partner where we can exchange those ideas with. Then, of course, also looking at the Volvo supply chain and the supply chain department. They are excellent and top in what they are doing. So having them supporting us is also a good way of getting values for both parties here.
And Christina, then what would you say, what's kind of the criteria that you look for in startups?
As mentioned, we look for both strategic value and financial value. And first of all, we look for the potential to cooperate and learn from each other in project or Volvo being a customer. But when you look on the financial side, we always look for a strong team that can both grow the team and the product and the market, bring in new customers. So the team is very, very important. And we look for early stage companies, but within early stage, there are different segments or phases. We do not look on a very, very early stage like seed. We look for what is called Series A, Series B, Series C. And that means that it's a little bit more mature companies in the aspect of having a team, having a solution, and then it's more about the market, how to scale the company, because the product or the solution is often in place and need to be.
So it's past that idea phase.
Yeah. And it's always important that the team is able to cooperate with a large customer like Volvo. So if you are too early stage, it's maybe a bit difficult. So fairly mature, Series A, Series B. As mentioned, we have a sector focus in mobility and transportation. But we have a quite wide geographical scope. Today we have a portfolio of companies in Europe, Israel, and the US, because often sector focus funds or investors tends to have a large deal flow in their sector. So we look on many different opportunities, but we are very selective. The last 12 months we have been investing in 5 companies, so we are very selective, but on a kind of international scale. And coming back a bit to the strategic view, Volvo is a company with high standards within sustainability and even higher targets within sustainability. And since venture is about long-term investing, you need to pick the winners of tomorrow, the best companies of tomorrow with new business models. And often sustainability is very well integrated in venture companies because, like in Adnavem, the business model is more transparent and more efficient. So we look also for companies that can help Volvo grow within sustainability. And long list of criteria, but I think Adnavem match many of them. Maybe you can comment a bit on the sustainability part.
I mean, sustainability, I think it's in the heart of all our mind right now. I mean, we saw the IPCC report here, and I think, we all have to do our part of this. And I think that sustainability, by being transparent, do things in a more effective way, not just look at historical data, but actually in the daily operations, and make the right decisions to lower the carbon dioxide. That's where we are stepping in as for the transport part. We cannot solve everything, but we are having a very strong focus on that from our end, definitely.
And Andreas, you've kind of come quite a ways on your journey. So what advice maybe do you have for other startups looking for capital?
I think the main thing is really, I mean, you need to think big. You need to start with an idea, or start with a problem actually that is really big and that is really global. You need to find the solution for it, and you need to find the team to do that. And I think that all needs to be linked together. And if you do that, then it's about execution, and then you need to focus on getting the first customer, the second customer, and then from there, then the capital will come as well.
And Erik, then how important is a collaboration like this in driving growth?
Yeah, let me first just comment on the capital part. I think that's a very good advice, because it's not to focus on finding the right investors, etc. It's focusing on execution, finding the first customer, showing the metrics are there. That's kind of how you raise capital. And then why is it important for the small and the big to cooperate? I think good ideas we've seen can come from anywhere. So there are so many good ideas that we need now in this transformation period, if we're talking carbon dioxide or other things. And the combination of a startup with something innovative and bold, with the resources, the experience, and perhaps also the brand and trust of a large company, has proven very successful. So we will see much more of that in the future, I hope. And we also like to cooperate with other large companies. So sometimes it's a number of large companies and a number of small companies that are needed to really make change happen. So,
and I think also to add to that, I think the combination of large and small, I think is very good, because you have the large history and knowledge, but you also have the fast movements in the agile startup world.
So Andreas, then we're kind of coming out of, or I hope, out of a tough time in the transport industry. What are your kind of predictions or outlook for what's ahead?
I think, I mean, we're having extremely tough times in logistics. I mean, you know that it's closed plants across the world. You have logistics challenges, but it also proved that, I mean, the supply chain is an important part of all of every producing or selling companies' business. And I think we are only, I would say, in a new world where we're going to be having higher fluctuations. It will be harder to predict what's going to happen in the future. But that's also one of the reasons why we exist. So for us, it's challenging in order to do that, but we also provide very good supporting tools for cargo owners to really do this in a much more effective way, because it changes all the time.
What do you think, Christina? What's kind of a final outlook or prediction you want to give?
Well,
on Volvo's side?
It's very hard to tell about the future, but from a financial perspective, the venture market is quite disconnected from the public market. And it's an ecosystem funded by very long-term capital. And when we invest, we always invest alongside other financial investors, like a group of investors doing minority investments. And for us, it's important to see that there is capital available for the companies to support them over time. And since venture have been very successful for many years now, many managers or investors have large funds raised that can last for long. So for instance, during the COVID crisis, that wasn't influenced at all, I would say, on the venture market. And if you look further back on the financial crisis 10 years ago, many of the best companies of today were founded at that time, because often hard times create opportunities in venture. Often large companies may be more affected. People start to move, and young startups are either established or founded, or are able to attract skilled, experienced people. And also, large companies, existing companies, look for more efficient solutions. So there are business opportunities for venture. So hard times, of course, it's hard, but it's also an opportunity in venture.
Great way to end off on a positive note. So I thank you all for your insights today. And if anyone out there who has tuned in has any questions for Christina, Erik, or Andreas, you can find their contact details on their website. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you.